Hello class, my name is Timothy Cow and I am going to be speaking about how video games and violence may or may not be related. So, to many parents, violent video games are regarded as a menace. It's no secret that most video games these days are violent. About 85% of them are or do have an amount of violence in them, and about 50% of them of video games have a more severe or serious kind of violence slash behavior and actions. Games like Call of Duty, Doom, and Mortal Kombat all have had controversies surrounding them, where parents would complain about the excessive gore or intense violence in the games. And in this video that I'm about to show you, it's going to illustrate how in the past video games were widely believed to cause violence in children. And this is an ABC News report from 1994.
This was shocking. Video games have become a $4 billion a year business, and a great many children, as you parents know, have put them on their Christmas lists. As ABC's Bill Greenwood reports, there is a growing concern on Capitol Hill that parents who buy some of those games may not realize just how much violence they're getting.
One of the most vicious games is called Mortal Kombat. The objective is to finish off your opponent violently. Another method is decapitation. Critics, including the National PTA, say such video games contribute to violence in real life. And television's Captain Kangaroo says parents are not paying enough attention.
So as you can see in the video, the game that the news was talking about was Mortal Kombat, and even in the 90s, video games were widely regarded as incredibly violent, and many people drew the conclusion that playing these games would lead to more aggressive behaviors. However, is there really evidence that violence in video games can cause violence or aggressive behavior? Well, to answer this question, no. Video games do not cause violence in children or in anyone, really, at least for the most part. According to two psychologists named Dr. Patrick Markey and Dr. Charlotte Markey, most children do not have a aggressive behavior after playing a violent video game. However, they do believe that there are some key personality traits that would lead to more aggressive behaviors after playing a violent video game. And these traits include neuroticism, which is being prone to anger or being highly emotional. The next one is disagreeableness, which is coldness or indifference to other people. And finally, low levels of conscientiousness, which is acting without thinking. Another key factor that plays a role in the behavior of children is the parenting. Most of the time, children acting aggressively is not the fault of a video game, it is the fault of a parent. Poor parenting can most of the time does lead to a child acting more aggressively. So according to an article written by Harvard Health Publishing, parents first off need to monitor their child when they play games and monitor the ESRB ratings, which is the ratings for a game such as M for mature or 18 plus. And it is important to be a more responsible parent and look out for your child. An argument many individuals seem to make is how school shootings are linked to violent video games. Ever since the Columbine shooting, many parents and news reports have blamed video games as being the sole suspect in the reason for school shootings. However, according to an article written by NPR, the motive behind most school shootings is not, playing a violent video game. Surprising, right? It is actually the desire for revenge after being tormented, bullied, or abused. And it can be, some children have been in abusive homes. They have been tormented by bullies at school. They could have a very bad relationship with their family. They can live in a broken home. There are many reasons why a child would feel in despair, and then that despair could lead to anger, and that anger can lead to a feeling of wanting revenge. And surprisingly, none of that has to do with video games. And it seems that most people would rather use video games as a scapegoat for their problems, rather than address the real problem as to why their children are acting so aggressively. And as I'm drawing near to my conclusion, I would just like to go over what I have spoken about. Video games are not the sole reason for causing violence in children. Rather, they are a scapegoat, so the real issues are not being addressed. While some children may act more violent or aggressive, is a better way to say it, aggressively after playing a violent video game, the majority of children are not prone to being aggressive like that. Furthermore, it is the fault of the parent for allowing their child to continue to play a violent video game that they know is causing them to act aggressively. It is time to stop lying to ourselves that video games cause violence and instead address the real problems that cause violence, like abusive families, easy access to deadly weapons, and bad home environment.